Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. We get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday. Sorry, just fixing my hair. It's all over the place today. Anyway, all right, we're here on Thursday, just waiting for people to arrive. We're doing happiness anchors, and it's day 4 of happiness anchors. And we're doing the science behind the happiness anchors. Initially, this was supposed to be yesterday, but it was kind of like, that makes no sense. Why? It felt backwards. So we did making them stick yesterday, and today is the science behind it. So yeah, let's just get rolling. Oh, right. I said I would read through the whole thing. So let's start from beginning to end, and then we'll cover the science. Good morning, buddy. We'll cover the science of happiness anchors. So, happiness, and just a quick moment of silence because today is the 24th anniversary of 9/11. I know, it's hard to believe that next year will be 25 years. It's still in my head like it was yesterday. So, yeah. Oh, God, all the memories from that day are just, wow. Anyways, so this is probably a good day to do happiness anchors. So, happiness isn't found in grand gestures or rare occasions, but in the deliberate anchors we set throughout our day. Those small, consistent moments of joy that weather life's storms and remind us that peace and pleasure are always within reach. When we honor these touch points of delight, we aren't just pausing for pleasure. We're building a resilient foundation of our well-being one tiny moment at a time. In our often chaotic and demanding lives, consistent moments of joy can serve as powerful stabilizing forces, what psychiatrists call happiness anchors. These intentional touch points throughout your day don't just provide momentary pleasure, they fundamentally reshape your overall sense of well-being. Yeah, I know, right, Sammy? It's crazy. Anyways, finding your anchors. Happiness anchors are highly personal. What brings one delight might leave another indifferent. The key is to identify what works for you. Morning rituals. So you can do a morning ritual, a midday reset, and an evening ritual. These are just some examples, okay? In the morning, coffee, reading, stepping into the open air or the morning air. Midday resets, a walk, a favorite lunch spot, or a phone call to a friend or a loved one. Evening ritual, cooking a favorite meal, relaxing shower or bath, a hobby, or plan a date with a partner, or just plan an outing with family or friends, whichever, The most effective anchors will engage your senses. Research has shown that frequency is more effective than intensity when it comes to building happiness. A steady stream of small joys contributes more to lasting well-being. Making anchors stick. This requires intentionality. Start small, begin with 1 or 2 until they become automatic. Protect these moments, treat them as non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Diversify your anchors. Create options for different environments and energy levels. Refresh periodically. What brings joy can evolve, so reassess your anchors every few months. Reshape your relationship with time and let it work for you. Now, if you want to know any of my thoughts on these, you can watch the previous day shows. Talking about happiness anchors was day 1. Finding your anchors was day 2. Making anchors stick was day 3. And day 4, the science of happiness anchors. The science explains why happiness anchors work so effectively. When distributed throughout the day, these are the reliable moments of pleasure. Number 1, create anticipation. Number 2, it will interrupt. They're speaking as though this is how it works. So number 1, it will create anticipation. Number 2, it will interrupt negative thought spirals. Number 3, it will provide consistent dopamine releases. That's usually what you get, I believe, if like your endorphins, right, when you're exercising. So number 4, build a foundation of emotional stability. And number 5, increase your resilience against stress. So the regularity of these experiences matters tremendously. When you know with certainty that moments of joy await you at specific points in your day, you develop what psychologists call positive expectancy. a mindset that naturally counteracts anxiety and overwhelm. So it was psychologists, not psychiatrists, that came up with happiness anchors. Sorry about that. So, I know a lot of people don't put much stock in therapy or psychologists, which is sad because it is a relatively new practice since it's only been around for just over 100 years. I mean, modern day psychology, just over, I would say 130 years. But, that being said, it's a continually growing science, and the more people are willing to be open to, sharing what they think, the more I think it will help people. For instance, when we talk psychologists, we think of Freud. But Freud also had a lot of students, or he mentored a lot of other psychologists, including Carl Jung. And they didn't necessarily, I don't want to say they really had a falling out as much as they just had a separation of interests. And by that I mean Carl Jung is the father of shadow work. He's the father of going in. It's not about, the size of your penis or, your mother or whatever. It's about going in to see where it's coming from and to really kind of dive into that and, and heal that, whatever it is, the darkness inside. I've talked about the shadow work before. I called mine my inner floof, which was like the inner child for me. And, you have to go in and heal it. Now, that doesn't mean Freud's wrong. I'm just saying that Carl Jung, to me, resonates more with what I needed in my healing. So, when we look at psychologists, just take it with a grain of salt if you're not, if that's not your thing. If you do believe in therapy and whatnot, which, I think is a fabulous and wonderful thing, and there should be no shame entailed into it because, mental health does matter. When you hear that word, you're going to be like, oh, okay, because people have studied this. People have done the work on this. People have done the test trials on these things. So, so today's the science, explaining why happiness anchors work so effectively. I love this. Number one, it creates anticipation. When you have a morning, a midday, or an evening ritual, it really can create that anticipation. Maybe not so much, for a lot of people, it's just like, oh, I got to have that first cup of coffee. And that might be their thing. Maybe that's your happiness anchor. But for the people that just, say, hey, you know what, I value my sleep more than I do that first cup of coffee. You can use these things as like your midday reset, but you can also use your morning rituals, whatever you do in the morning to get yourself ready for your day. That can be your morning ritual. Turn it into something, kind of meditative if you want to, but create your midday reset, create your evening ritual, and, maybe decide ahead, what, you want to do or what you're planning on doing. Plans can always change. Okay. But sometimes when we write these things down, we can be like, yeah. And if your plans change and you were a person that's just like, oh my God, I hate change, just go with the flow. All right, go with the flow, because the whole point of happiness anchors isn't to upend you. The whole point of happiness anchors is to remind you that when we start to drift away, this is going to hold us down. This is not hold us down, or hold us back. This is going to keep us grounded. And especially if you have a dinged up mental health, or if you, struggle with spiraling, this can help the spiral either not happen or not get too far. Okay. And it might even help us. When you find your healing, you find that, different situations are going to bring up different feelings. And, I shared earlier that how this week is, I was worried about this week because it's going to be hard. Today, I'm really feeling tomorrow. I did not put much effort, forgive me, into this today, because I am starting to feel a little bit of the overwhelm coming tomorrow. And I had made plans, and now I'm not sure if I should have, but, I'm trying to remind myself that, this is something I have to move through. And it's something I'm going to move through. And if I have to cry, I'll cry. If I have to, be angry at something, I'll be angry at something. Not somebody, but just like, just kind of, not even angry. Anger shouldn't even be a part of it anymore. But I do believe in the science of this. I do believe in science. Take that as you want. But again, so it creates anticipation. It can create an anticipation for you throughout your day. Number 2, interrupt negative thought spirals. It can help interrupt negative thought spirals. We just literally talked about that. The negative thought spirals, when you find your happiness anchor, or you remind yourself, hey, I'm not doing well right now, but at lunch, or to my midday reset, I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to go walk by my favorite tree, or walk down my favorite path, or walk down to the Starbucks and get a coffee, whatever it is. All right. It's an anticipation thing. You're giving yourself something to look forward to, something to hang on to. And maybe while you're out there walking or doing whatever it is that your midday reset is, you can just do the breathing and the exhaling and just be like, okay, when we find these happiness anchors and we find this healing within ourselves, the spirals become a little more identifiable. Not always. Like I said, sometimes even now I can find myself in a spiral, but I have such a different feeling now after healing that I can literally feel the spiral. Like I can feel myself at the edge of one. Oh, sorry, Sammy. Am I blinding you with science? But anyways, she's talking about the Thomas Dolby song. That's funny. But anyways, I can physically feel the spiral now. And I know that sounds odd, but, and to be honest with you, it's an epiphany right now because I didn't realize that, I feel like I'm going into a spiral, but I didn't realize this is what it felt like because before I healed, before I had that awakening, it was just kind of like, it just felt like I always felt, just very heavy and just very, just emotionally heavy. And, like you're just carrying something on your chest and in your heart, and you're just like, so I didn't realize until right now that I can actually feel this. And it's a very strange and odd feeling, but it's also good for me to know because now I know what to look for. So, number 3, it will provide consistent dopamine releases. So, you know what? Let's just look up dopamine really quick so you don't think it's like, oh my God, what is she talking about? Dopamine receptors. All right. Dopamine receptors are specialized proteins in the brain that play a crucial role in regulating motivation, pleasure, and various cognitive functions. So, sorry. Oh, Sammy, you're so cute. No, I appreciate that, really. So it's a class of G protein coupled receptors that respond to the neurotransmitter the neurotransmitter dopamine. They're primarily located in the central nervous system and are involved in numerous neurological processes, including motivation, reward cognition, memory, learning, and motor control. So there you go. So dopamine's not a bad thing. I mean, it can be if it's a catch-22, right? Sometimes people will do things not so good for themselves because of that dopamine. They need that because maybe they are struggling with so many things. But is anticipatory a real word? Because it just keeps floating through my head. Let's see. My God, it is a real word. Look at me using the 50-cent words today. Happening, performed, or felt in anticipation of something. You guys are probably like, what is wrong with her today? Anyways, so yes, it gives you an anticipatory feeling. I know I got my new word today. I'm really excited. I know you're all like, what? It's not even a new word. I'm writing it down because I really like it. So, anticipatory. Ha. So, somebody else is on, and I apologize because I can't see who it is, but good morning, or good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. Hello to you. Bonjour. But, it provides a consistent it provides consistent dopamine releases. So when you have something to look forward to, I mean, even with the show, right? We just had a dopamine release talking about Thomas Dolby and science. So, yeah, if you know, you know. But, God, that song stuck in my head. When we give ourselves something to anticipate and we give ourselves something to look forward to, it can release the dopamine, it can trigger the dopamine sensors because it's saying, oh, hey, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I'm going to walk here today. Where I used to work, we had a lot of places. We had the Starbucks would take a little bit longer. So half the time you'd have to drive. Oh, right. Sorry about that, Cousin Jeannie. Good morning, Cousin Jeannie. But sometimes, we would walk. There was a gelato place across the way. We'd walk there, or we'd walk across the street to the cafe and maybe grab a quick snack or something sweet. And I mean, that's not necessarily the goal, right? But I think for me, it was because, it was usually a few of us going and, there's giggles, there's laughter. Nobody's talking about work. Well, most times. It's just a fun, short little outing to bring something back to the office. But, you're getting your dopamine release, right? You're getting that woo. So, just so you guys know, in case you're wondering where Laura was, I called her 4 times trying to wake her up this morning. So not my fault. But anyways, number 4, it builds a foundation of emotional stability. I can definitely see this. Think of it as like a Lego, right? Your bottom layer can be your morning rituals. Your next layer can be your midday resets. And then the next layer can be your evening rituals. And when you step back and look, you're like, wow, I just built that. And, let's put it on stable ground so that it doesn't fall apart. You don't want to build yourself a house of cards. Unless, of course, you're gluing it all together. But most people don't, right? The whole point of the house of cards is to get to card number 52 without everything falling apart. Which, by the way, I have done. When you're an only child, boy, you just come up with all kinds of things to entertain yourself. But, yeah, it helps you build a foundation of emotional stability because you are giving yourself things to look forward to. You're creating that habit. And remember what we said on Monday. Again, I'm a little unclear because this is like a moving target, but 21 days is supposed to be the amount of days that, it takes somebody to create a habit. And then it used to be 28 days, but apparently it's 21 and 28 to make it stick. Okay, so just shoot for 28. All right, just shoot for 28. But it will help you build that. Well, I can't say it will help you build that foundation of emotional stability because that's up to you. And if you sit there and say, yeah, I don't see how that's going to work, it's not going to work. You have to sometimes just trust the process. Sometimes you have to just go with the flow and see what happens. And that's somewhere I still struggle. I still struggle with fear of, what, the next step might look like or what the path looks like. And that does scare me sometimes. So, because change is hard for me. But, which I think we've gathered by now. Change is hard for me. But yeah, when we have these happiness anchors, we give ourselves that leg up. We give ourselves this steady foundation, to kind of stand there and say, okay, not every day will be perfect. Not every day might be great. But I have these happiness anchors, and whether they're working for me today or not, I'm going to keep moving towards that feeling because I want to make sure that I keep myself in a good place, that I keep myself from spiraling, that I allow myself to find the joy in the day, even when it's hard. Okay? I am no stranger to the struggle. I am no stranger to reality. I get it. Not every day is going to be perfect. That's why we have to hold on to the happiness anchors, because you don't want it to spread into the next day. If you were spiraling or you were going through a depression or a depressive having a depression event, you don't want to get stuck in there. You want to make sure that you hold on to this anchor. Like it's, think of it as like being in the sea of misery, right? And you're holding on to that buoy saying, I don't want to let go. And then, you don't let go of that buoy that you're just floating next to. And then eventually you will find your stability again. But if we let go speaking from my own experience, and so I don't know what everyone else's experiences are, but since I've been able to, until now I can physically feel it, but until I was able to really kind of mentally grasp, like, oh, I know why I'm feeling, I'm not feeling, but I know why I'm going through this, because, oh yeah, you know what, I'm spiraling. And then I would immediately just kind of metaphorically grab onto something and go like, no, 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 this, and then try to find things to bring me joy, whether it's coloring or journaling or both. Because a lot of times that's what kind of just helps me hang on, because I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just thinking about what colors are going on the book right after I've journaled exactly what's like, oh yeah, I caught myself in a spiral today. I cannot let it get any worse. And I found that it's easier for me to climb out of. And I don't mean it's easy. I'm just saying it's easier now because I haven't let myself hit bottom. And if you are a person that struggles with your mental health, this is what happiness anchors are for. They are to keep you from hitting bottom. And like I said, let's be realistic. That doesn't mean we're not going to hit bottom. But what if we hit bottom, right? What if we do hit that bottom? And you're like, great, now what? You said happiness anchors work. They do. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're standing at the bottom, this is something I learned from a TV show, and this quote, even though I get it wrong every time, always hits me in just the right way. When, what happens if I hit bottom? You get to decide whether you keep digging or not. Do you want to keep digging that hole? And if you sit there and go, no, I don't, then that happiness anchor is working. Whatever it is that you were holding on to. Find a thought or something, or you keep a picture. All cell phones nowadays, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, they all have folders. Make a happiness folder for yourself. It can be pictures, it can be music. You can make a happiness playlist, right? Things that bring you back. Ironically, my in the mood is mostly heavy metal, but for some reason that balances and levels me out. And it's just like, oh yeah, I feel that. I feel it right between the eyes, so it's like, okay, I'm good. And it may take a while, but that's kind of that's the buoy I have. It's like, oh, I can feel myself in the mood. I got to put on this music. And for some reason, it just helps. Maybe because it's just shouting at everything in my head. And it just, for some reason, it does. It stabilizes me. So, it can build a foundation of emotional stability if you let it. It will take work. It will take time. But if you allow this to be something that you're looking forward to, that you're having, that you're anticipating, then, see, like Sammy says, remember in the dark what you've seen in the light. Yeah. Oh, that is great. Remember in the dark what you've seen in the light. I love it. That is perfect. That is perfect. Yeah. So when you're down there in the dark, remember what you've seen in the light, or just look up, just like, okay, you know what? Just remember, we always have this metaphor that we're trapped in the dark, right? Or we always use the metaphor of being at the bottom of the well or the bottom of a hole. Well, when you look up, there's light, unless it's nighttime. But even still, maybe you can see the stars, which is light. So see, there's always a way up. We just have to choose it. So number 5, increase your resilience against stress. It does increase your resilience against stress. Let's use a work example. You're at work, you're like, oh my God, these people are driving me nuts today. Or maybe you're heavy into the PMS that week and you're like, oh my God, these people are just, they're not doing anything, but I'm annoyed with it. I'm annoyed with my pen because it's not the right pen today. So just small things like that, right? So you might go, oh, that's right. At lunch, we're going out for lunch, or, maybe on my walk, I'll divert this way and go pick up, some coffee or something. Or, maybe I'll just go sit under that favorite tree. Maybe I'll bring my book. Maybe I'll just sit in the sun. Whatever it is, you were allowing yourself to anticipate something. And that can help you. That can, just give you the idea that, it's going to get better, because this is just a moment. Stress is just a moment. unless we allow it to, explode into something bigger. So happiness anchors, they do work if you allow them to work. And I got to remember this too. I mean, I love all this. The reason I chose this was because I needed happiness anchors. So, anyways, the regularity of these experiences matters tremendously. When you know with certainty that moments of joy await you at specific points in your day, you develop what psychologists call positive expectancy, a mindset that naturally counteracts anxiety and overwhelm. I love that. I know. I'm telling you, my anxiety, I don't know why, guys. And, I'm sorry. I keep thinking to myself, Shelly Marie, and I'm going to make this personal right now. So, we kind of went through the happiness anchors, but I'm going to make this a little personal right now, because this is where I really need to hang on to my happiness anchors. Because as much as I keep thinking that I am going to be okay tomorrow, I really can't tell you if I am or not. There's just so much unfamiliar feelings inside of me right now. And I keep wanting to associate them with anger, but I don't think it's anger, because I can feel the tears welling up in the back of my eyes. You're like, the back of your eyes. I can just, how you feel that pressure before you cry? I can feel it. I can feel it. And it's not the memory of my mom passing here in this house on the exact date tomorrow. It's something more. It's not her being gone, because it does hurt. I'm in my midlife, right? And I feel like there's still so much more that can happen in my life. And she's not going to be there for that. And I accepted that. I understand that. And I understand the same with Sissy Joe. They're gone. I can feel them. I have communicated with them in my own way. I know, stepping out of the box there. But I don't know what this feeling is. And it's driving me nuts, because it just feels, and I don't think it's a spiral now, because I recognized it. And to me, spirals are like these little baddies that poke at you. It's like, once you go, I see you, I found you, hide and seek, you're out. It just kind of goes away, because it did go away when we talked about the happiness anchors, but now I'm feeling something different, and I don't know what it is. And this is why I need to find the happiness anchor. This is why I need to have anticipation for something, because, I think, what, this is the thought that's hitting me right now. And for all of you that have stayed on, I appreciate it, because this is what I think a lot of it might be for some of us. I'm just troubleshooting here, because I can't speak for everyone, but maybe for me is that I think sometimes we're, depending on the generation we've grown up in, we sometimes get raked over the coals when we show emotion, even in public. Like, oh, you're going to cry now, or oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And I think that's why a lot of us feel that overwhelm. Maybe that's why I feel a little overwhelmed about, sticking to my plan tomorrow. Because what if I do decide, walking down, Hotel Dell's corridors, and all of a sudden, poof, I'm crying. It's like, is that the ghost of the hotel because her life didn't turn out well? Or is that because, hey, I miss my mom? But I think the best thing I can tell you is, if you're facing something, always carry a pack of tissues. Seriously. That's my ancient Chinese wisdom today. Always carry a pack of tissues, because you never know. Seriously. We went out on Monday, had ice cream. My cousin whips out this bag of wipes. That's how you know and I want to say that's how you know she's a mom, but there are people out there who aren't moms that do it. But it's like, you are the bomb. Thank you. Because yes, I looked like a 5-year-old while I was eating. No shame either, by the way. No shame at all. I just know now to get a smaller scoop. But But yeah, maybe that's, and here's the funny thing. So I shared that I felt this knot in my chest just now. The minute I said, hey, just carry a pack of tissues, it started to go away. And maybe that's what we're afraid of. Maybe that's what we're afraid of when we're anticipating, like anniversaries of something or the passing of something, is that, we're afraid to show those emotions. We're afraid to, let people see that even all these years later, it still hurts. Yeah, like Sammy says, but crying is okay. It is totally okay. You want to cry, cry. You want to cry if you're happy, cry. If you want to cry if you're sad, cry. I mean, I'm not even saying I'm going to cry tomorrow. I don't even know. But I think that's why sometimes we just stay in our little huts, our little metaphorical huts with no windows, all the windows drawn, everything shut. Because we're afraid to let people see how we're feeling. We don't care if they see us when we're happy, but they don't want us to see us when we're sad. And I think a lot of that too is, when we were younger, at least in my generation, if you started crying or you started showing any kind of emotion, you were a big baby, or, oh, you're crying again, or, it's not something to cry about. I'll give you something to cry about. How many of us remember that one? I'll give you something to cry about. It's because that's where our emotions come from. A lot of times I cry when I'm angry. And people think, oh, well, what's wrong with you now? Or, we're taught, oh, you're attention seeking. No, I'm just mad, or I'm just sad. I could give two shits if you want to walk by me because you don't care what I'm going through, because I don't need you to care what I'm going through. I need to care what I'm going through. And that's where the happiness anchors come in. That's where they sit in our minds and go, hey, you know what, Shelley Marie, I'm back here. Or, hey, fill in the blank, I'm over here. And I'm going to hold space for you until you can find it, because I don't want you to go past that threshold and spiral to the point where it becomes so hard to come back. I've had spirals that have taken me months to come out of. Months. And I don't want to go back there. I already struggle with a dinged up mental health. I don't need it to compound itself and get worse. And that's why I love the happiness anchors. That's why I when I saw this article, I was like, oh my God, I've got to talk about this. Because I can't be the only one out there who needs a happiness anchor. And that doesn't mean you have to have a dinged up mental health. Maybe you're a person that gets bored during the day, right? And you're just kind of like, yeah. Oh, it's 8:30. I got to start work. Oh, is it 4 o'clock yet? Is it 4:30 yet? I mean, you're like 2 minutes into your job and you're like, But that's where the happiness anchors can come in. Give yourself something to look forward to. And, if you're a person that likes a good challenge yourself with this. Can I create a habit out of this? But remember, the most important thing is to recheck with yourself every couple of months. I would probably say, depending on how you work, maybe every 6 months, right? Or every 4 months. Like if you find yourself, just measure the first set of months, but do it like quarters in the year. You can do it every 3 months. So that's 4 quarters. You can do it at the change of every season. You can do it every 6 months, but I would say don't go an entire year. Okay. Because at that point, we want them to become automatic, but we don't want them to become so automatic that we're, it's not affecting us anymore. It's like, look at it this way. It's like people who drink caffeine, right? I'll give you this is my favorite story. This is one of my favorite stories about Laura, older sibling, and her ex-husband. They're still very, very good friends. But when they first started dating, she had him over and she made a pot of coffee, and he was like, and he's told me the story too, that, he's just trying to match her cup for cup. Well, older sibling was used to that. They both worked in the entertainment business at the time. She was used to drinking like several pots of coffee a day with a buttload of an entire field of sugar in each one. So it didn't affect her. She's like, yeah, I just went right to sleep. And I'm sitting there like, literally my face, I'm all like, you went to sleep after drinking like more than half a pot of coffee? And this poor guy is like, I was jittery all night. Because she got used to it. You don't want yourself to get to the point where it doesn't affect you anymore. You want to keep your happiness anchors fresh. Okay, think of it as like those, what are the flowers that grow perennial? No, what are they? The ones that grow like only during seasons or whatever. But I know Sammy would know because she grows flowers. But this is what I'm saying. You want to do a check-in every so often. So if you have a planner and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to start today. I'm going to start today, because 28 days from now, well, it'll be October. Or if you want to start on the 1st, I would say start now. At least find your happiness anchors, do something with it. But however you anticipate it, just say, so in December, I'm going to check in with myself and see if I'm okay. And if you're okay, then do the 4-month thing where you're only changing it 3 times a year. Check in with yourself in January. Am I still doing okay? Yeah, okay. And then, if you're still doing okay at 6 months, go, all right, maybe I'm the kind of person that only every 6 months I can refresh this and maybe toss things up a little bit. So, oh yeah, trust me, Sammy's all an entire field of sugar. Whenever we go out, an older sibling either orders coffee or iced tea, I will ask the server, can you bring a field of sugar and can you bring a cow? Because I would like some of the milk, and she will use it all. I don't think she means to, but she will. As for the field of sugar, yeah, this is why Shelly Marie, that's me, has learned to drink iced tea without sugar, because she always took the sugar. She'd be like, would you like some? And sometimes when you go to restaurants and they're busy and you ask for sugar, it takes forever. And this one place we would go to, bless his heart, he was the only guy on that Sunday who was serving. So it's just kind of, he was very busy, and it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna bother him. I'll just, and eventually I just grew the taste so much for regular iced tea. I can't drink it unless it's raspberry iced tea, like the one from the fountain. I can't drink it with sugar because it's just like sweet tea. Oh my God. I tried sweet tea once. I thought it was going to kill me, but, sorry to all my Southern sibling though. Oh my God. She loves sweet tea, but, yeah, so entire field of sugar and a stable full of cows when it comes to older sibling. I'm glad she's not on. She'd be like, hey. So anyways, now your happiness anchors, all right? Your happiness anchors, finding your anchors, making them stick, and the science behind it. Annuals. Thank you, Muddy. I appreciate that. I did actually write this article out. It is from Karma Gaia, and I can't find the article, so I can't send you the link. But turns out yesterday I wrote it out for somebody, so I'll stick it in the comments on Facebook, and that way if you want to read it out or you want to, I think I put it in a PDF format. If you want to read it, if you want to print it out and put it somewhere or fold it up and put it in your journal, I don't think it's a bad idea if you struggle with, hanging on to something. And by that I mean, like if you struggle with finding that joy in the day. So it's a good reminder. So anyways, thank you, Cousin Jeannie and Sammy Muddy, for coming on today. Thank you guys for just kind of rolling with it today. I mean, I know I say it's a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything, but today was just like, that last part was just kind of like, let me get on my pulpit and speech. So remember, just like Sammy says, crying is okay. All right, crying is okay. Don't let people shame you. I don't let people shame me now, but I think there's still that old block in the back of my head that says, I'd rather just isolate because I don't know how I'm going to feel later. It's like, just roll with it. And now that I've said that, I'm still a little hesitant about tomorrow, but I'm also looking forward to it, because the happiness anchor I had was a reminder that we're going to have a margarita in honor of my mother. And the minute I remembered that, I'm all, oh, that's right. That's right. So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I will see everybody back here on Monday. 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch. You can also find me across the media board. I'm sorry, I'm just losing my, this is definitely why I'm not doing a show tomorrow. I'm everywhere. So, oh, thank you, cousin. Actually, you know what? Since I'm driving, you don't need to bring Kleenex, because right in that center console is a big ass box of Kleenex. So, but thank you. And I may just, Maybe I'll bring a backpack tomorrow and just toss it in there. But I also have Kleenex in my purse. So anyway, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on Monday. And thank you, girls, for hanging in there. Have a great day.